Lynn spoke, "Miss Vesti, please," then fell on the ground. Vesti snatched her headscarf. The next moment her hair was cut by Vesti, and she said, "This suits her much better." Lynn replied, "She is sorry, lady. Please forgive her," Vesti stated. "The floor is a mess. Clean it right this minute. She doesn't want a single strand of her hair in her room." Lynn replied, "Of course, lady." Vesti said she liked warm water in her wash basin. "Forget it again, and she will chop off all of her hair." Lynn thought she was glad it did not get worse. Vesti is the only daughter of Mr. Paul, and she gets her way no matter what. As the daughter of the innkeeper, she should get some sleep. It will be a busy day tomorrow. The next day, Lynn thought she had lived in this inn for most of her life. She was a penniless orphan, and Mr. Paul, father of Vesti, was kind enough to take her in, but he does not pay her for the work she does. Sometimes it gets so hard that she wants to run away, but she knew that running away would not ensure a better life. The inn is packed because of the festival. It helps that the food here is delicious, so she needs to do whatever she can and not get on their bad side. Vesti spoke, "Her hair is out. Little fool, she touched her hat with those grubby hands." Lynn replied she was sorry. Vesti spoke, "She bet Lynn has no idea how dirty her face is right now. She is making her lose her appetite. Go wash her face immediately." Lynn spoke, "It's not coming off." Vesti told her she should hide her hair. She heard some strangers had been going around asking for girls with silver hair. Lynn asked, "What? Someone is looking for girls with silver hair?" Vesti stated, "Why would she lie to her? She know Eddie from the blacksmith. He told me about it. It seems like someone higher up is searching for a plaything." Lynn thought Vesti is only 13, but she knows more about the world than her. The life of girls in the slums is all the same. If they are lucky enough, they get work as housemaids. If they are unlucky, they must live their lives as wenches. That's what everyone told her after her mother passed away. She doesn't consider herself lucky at this point, but she has to stay at the inn as long as possible. That night, Lynn asked Josephine if she would take the pork haunch as usual. Josephine asked again, "Where in the hell does Paul spend all his hard-earned money? What a jerk, does he still strike her?" Lynn replied, "Not as much as before." Josephine spoke, "So he still hits her." She knows she is not related, but she can't stand him, knowing how he treats her when no one is around. Here, she put in more than the order, "Sneak in some bites when Paul is not around." Lynn replied, "Thanks, she will see her next time." Josephine thought she is the spitting image of her mother. She used to smile when her mother was alive, but she has not seen her smile since her mother passed away. Minos came and asked, he have not seen her much since she started working at the inn. "Here, have some." Lynn replied she couldn't. She had to get back before Mr. Paul asked for her. Minos stated, "It will only take a minute. Have some bites. Look at these poor arms. They are about to fall off." He wished someone would get these kebabs off his hands. Lynn thought sometimes she feels miserable about her life, and every time, as if to console her, life always gives her something to look forward to. Minos told her it might be better for her to lay low for a few days. Lynn replied she knew there were some men searching for a silver-haired child. After some time, Lynn came back home. Paul shouted, "What took her so long? Take a good look, gentlemen. Is this the child they were looking for, the silver-haired, blue-eyed twat?" The gentleman spoke, "Yes, she is silver-haired." Paul asked, "Now where is the compensation they promised?" "Oh, wow. Thanks. Why is she standing there? Go with these men." Lynn asked, "What do he mean?" Vesti told her, "She don't get it. She have a new master now. Someone bought her from us." Lynn spoke, "Please don't send her away. She promised to do laundry twice a day from now on. He don't have to feed her. She won't ask him for food." Paul stated, "This is out of his hands now. Get lost, little idiot." Vesti spoke. She told her, "Lynn, silver hair would become her downfall. Don't forget her if she end up as the mistress of some ugly old noble." After that, Lynn asked, "Sir, what will they have her do?" One of them replied, "Why don't she get in the carriage first?" After some time, the maid spoke, "She has come a long way. She is all skin and bones. She won't be able to serve Lady Elizabeth like this." There she goes. She cleaned up nicely. She finally looks passable. Now eat up. She is going to need the energy. Lin thought it looked so delicious. The maid told her, slow down, she is going to choke. If she want them to work for her, she need to feed them first. Then Lin remembered the gentleman told them, her job is to wait on Lady Elizabeth. She will be doing things in her place. Things that the lady herself should not be doing. Lin thought she was not sure what she was supposed to be doing. But maybe life at the dukedom wouldn't be so bad after all. They said she would have to wait upon Lady Elizabeth. But it's been a week already, and she has yet to meet her. Contrary to her fears, life on the estate was more peaceful compared to the inn. After a few days, Lin introduced herself. Lady Elizabeth stated, wow, she does have silver hair, she is pretty, so her name is Lin. She must stay by her side at all times. Do she understand? She will see her at my lesson. After that, Elizabeth spoke, he is amazing, Marvin, he was right, she has the same silver hair as Her Highness Regina. Things are going to get interesting. The next day, Lin thought her job was to keep Lady Elizabeth company. The teacher asked, Lady, did she finish the history homework she gave her last time? Elizabeth replied, of course she did. The teacher spoke, Lady made the same mistake as before. She have no choice but to punish her again. Lin thought, punish, at that time, she did not know that this was her job. The next scene, Lin thought, it hurts. She said she would grade the homework next time, so her job was to receive punishment on her lady's behalf. The governess was not allowed to punish a noble lady, so they needed someone to take her place, and Lady Elizabeth seemed to enjoy it whenever she took a beating. The job is not what she had expected, but it still beats working at the inn. She took the beating instead, hoping that made Lady Elizabeth happy. Suddenly, a boy asked, who is she? Lin thought, who could it be? She can't see because of the sunlight. The boy said, wait, she have blood on her face. This is his secret spot. He did not expect someone to be napping here. Lin thought, that's where she met a boy so beautiful. The god of beauty would throw a fit of jealousy if they laid their eyes on him. Yes, that was where she first met young Master Martin, the successor of the dukedom of Arup. What is this emotion? She feels butterflies in her stomach, a tingly sensation. Then she asks, what is happening to her? Suddenly, she hears the voice of Elizabeth asking where she is. Lin speaks, she is here, lady, and tells him if he will excuse her, then thinks something is wrong with her heart. Elizabeth asks, do she know how many times she called for her? Lin replies with apologies. Elizabeth slaps her, then asks why her head is in the clouds. Lin replies, she is sorry. Then thinks she has been serving Lady Elizabeth for about a month now. From what she has experienced so far, she has severe mood swings, and is even more temperamental than Miss Vesti. Sometimes she is in a bad mood for an entire day, and on those days, the only thing she can do is beg forgiveness. Elizabeth speaks, what a dumb twat, and asks, come to think of it, what was Governess Luther's homework this week? Lin replies, she wished for her to study the founding flag of the Trona Empire. Elizabeth tells her, go to the library and fetch me some books. Lin asks, what kind of books? Elizabeth asks, what has gotten into her? History books, of course. Dosh need to knock more sense into her. Lin replies, she will go right this minute. Then thinks Lady Elizabeth was kind enough to teach her how to read and write. Initially, she was ever so thankful, but she knows better now. There was a reason she wanted her to be literate. The more she studied, the more homework she made her do. These errands are far better than taking a beating from Governess Luther. After Lady Elizabeth messed up her homework, it gives her the opportunity to visit this grand library. There are so many books in here, she loves the smell of old books. This library holds nearly every single book published in the empire. If she ever gets a day off, she would love to come here and read all day long, just as she has to take one more. Suddenly she was falling because her foot slipped. Martin held her from falling down to the floor. Lin speaks, thanks, young master, then thinks her heart feels like it's going to burst. Martin asks, is she doing research for the founding flag of Trona? Lin replies, yes. Lady Elizabeth asked her to get some books. Martin states, these 3 books won't be enough. Lynn asks, then what should she do? Martin tells her he will help her, he studied this before. And she should take the cap off. Her hair is very pretty. Don't people tell her this before? Her hair reminds him of the Milky Way. Lynn thought no one told her this before. A commoner with hair the color of a royal. People would point fingers and gossip behind her back, Martin states. She don't have to if it makes her uncomfortable. Lynn speaks. She will do that, she will do as master wish. Martin thought she is cuter than he thought. Then speaks. Good girl. Take these books as references. He looked forward to enjoying her hair again. Lynn replies, yes, young master. Martin thought, is she the new girl Elizabeth brought in? She had scars all over her face and body. It's over the line. Even for Elizabeth, he hopes he can see her again. On the other hand, the governess asks, she is going to ask her one more time, Lady Elizabeth. She hoped Lady tell her the truth this time. She did not work on the homework. Did she? This is at a much higher level than she expected of her. She can tell Lady received help from someone else. She is going to have to go to her father. Elizabeth spoke. She told her she did it. Is she saying she is lying? The governess replied. It is much more well written than the homework she have submitted so far. Elizabeth shouted. What did she say? She is the daughter of the Duke. She is more than equipped to hand in a finely written essay. The governess thought she should stop there. If they continue, that little girl won't be able to survive. Elizabeth slapped Lynn, then stated, it may be her fault after all. She deserves to be punished. Wouldn't she agree, governess? Then Elizabeth started slapping and beating her. The maids were frightened. The governess spoke. That's enough, Lady Elizabeth. Elizabeth asked, what do she mean? That's enough. She said the essay was too advanced for her level. She has disappointed her and deserves to be punished. She hoped the governess won't be disappointed the next time she hands in her homework. She will be more careful. See her next time. And one more thing. She wants Lynn out of her sight today. Lynn replied, yes, lady. The governess asked, can she get up, child? Lynn replied, she is fine. Thanks for looking out for her. She will be heading out now. The maids chatted with each other. Why does Lady Elizabeth hate Lynn so much? The other one replied, she don't understand why she does that. After the lessons continued, so did the conflict between the governess and Lady Elizabeth, and the punishments she doled out became even worse. Just how much more of a beating will she give her next time? She is sad and frightened. There is only one place that gives her some sort of solace, and that is the lake behind the estate. She must hurry. She needs to get there as soon as possible. It's the only place where she can wash away her sadness. The former Duchess is said to have loved this place, and it gives her peace of mind too. No one comes here anymore, so it's upsetting. She wanted to get in Lady Elizabeth's good graces, but it looks like that will never happen. Then Lynn remembered Elizabeth stating, that bitch, she is ruining everything for her. What makes it worse is that she has filthy silver hair just like her. She does not know who the lady was referring to, but she must resemble someone the lady despises. Then she said, she hate it all. Martin asked, what exactly do she hate? What happened to her face? Her cheeks are red and swollen. Did someone hit her? Lynn replied, no, that's not it. Martin asked, was it Elizabeth? Lynn replied, no, it's nothing like that. Martin spoke. He think he can go ask her herself. Lynn spoke. Please don't do that, young master. If he ask the lady, he will put her in trouble. Martin stated, why don't she tell him what happened? He promised to keep it a secret. Nod for yes, shake for no. Was it Elizabeth? Lynn nodded. Martin said, when will she ever learn? Lynn spoke. She is really fine. If he tell her, she will get into deeper trouble. Then she thought, she can't tell him the truth. After all, the lady is Lord Martin's younger sister. Martin spoke. Here, he want her to try this. Lynn replied. Thanks. Martin asked. How can she thank him when she don't know what he is about to give her? Lynn replied. Apologies, young master. Martin stated, he was merely jesting, just between her and him. He will bring her something nice whenever he can. Lynn thought the kind gesture by the most beautiful boy she had ever met made her heart flutter. Violence was the only form of human contact she had ever experienced, and pain and fear were a part of her daily life. He was the first person to treat her kindly after the death of her mother. Martin asked if she was ill. She didn't have a fever, did she? Lin replied. No, she is fine. Martin said, really, that's good to hear. Lin asked, what is this, young master? Martin replied, this is called chocolate. Try it, it's delicious. Lin thought she had never had something so sweet and delicious before. Martin stated he was glad she enjoyed it. Lin thought he was patting her head again. She didn't know if her heart was pounding, because of the sweet chocolate or because of the young master's beautiful smile. Martin asked, shouldn't she get going? She have been here for quite some time. Lin said she would be leaving now. Lin thought she might get another beating for this, but it was fine. She was able to spend time with the young master. Martin thought what a shame it was that he wouldn't be able to see her for much longer. On the other hand, Lin thought the lady must still be in bed. That was close. It was her duty to ensure that her lady woke up in a good mood. If not, she would throw anything within reach toward her. Elizabeth asked where she was going. She should follow her right away. Did she know how uncomfortable she was without her? Lin thought that was a lie. There were many other servants who served the lady. She saw other maids follow her lady before making her way to the back garden. Lin apologized. She went to the kitchen and told them to prepare refreshments for her. Elizabeth asked if she saw her as a pig like her. Lin replied she knew that the lady liked to enjoy canapés after her nap. After some time, a maid asked, hello there, is she going for her lady's refreshment? Lin replied, yes, could she give our the canapés she asked for earlier? The maid replied, here, take this with her, and this is for Lin. Go on, eat it, it's delicious. She had heard from another maid that her lady hit her again. When will she learn to control her temper? Lin replied. Well, it did not last long today. Thanks, she will see her later. The maid thought that poor thing. She was such a good lass and a hard worker, so why did her lady treat her so badly? At night, Lin thought there was a reason why she was heading out to the forest at this belated hour. 30 minutes ago, the lady said a visitor was coming soon, and they loved wild strawberries. Then she ordered her to go to the forest to pick wild strawberries. They were supposed to move in pairs for tasks like this. She was sure she would be fine. Who knows? She may run into the young master again. However, the young master would be leaving for the academy, and she wouldn't be able to see him as often anymore. Suddenly, Lin thought there was something in the bushes. Could it be? There were wild animals out there. Then she was shocked and shouted, someone save her. On the other hand, Philippe asked, what is the matter? A servant replied, apologies, young master. They heard a scream in the woods, which scared the horse. Lin saw that it was a deer. Oh no, too much time had passed, she should wrap it up. A maid asked. She brought a full basket of wild strawberries. She did well. Why don't she get some rest? Although, how could her lady send her out alone in the middle of the night? Maids came and told her, there she is. Why is she just standing there? The guest has arrived. The lady told all of them to gather around, hurry up, and change their garments. After that, Lord Hargreaves arrived. Philip spoke. It's been a while, dear friend, Martin replied. Indeed. Elizabeth asked, what took him so long? She missed him so much. Let's go to the sitting room. A maid whispered that she could see why her lady fancied him. He was different from young Master Martin, as day and night. Lin thought young Master Martin had a dark aura about him with his raven locks and ash-gray eyes, while Lord Philippe was as bright and refreshing as a spring forest. After that, Philippe spoke, saying he came in high spirits, eager to reunite with his old friend. Elizabeth asked how he could say that. Didn't he miss her at all? Philippe replied that he was looking forward to reuniting with Martin's beautiful younger sister. Elizabeth spoke. Just hearing his words makes her happy, Maid's thought. Does the lady ever laugh like that in front of them? Philippe asked, by the way, does she have a new servant, the one with the silver hair? Lin thought everyone in the estate was used to her hair. She forgot that people found her hair unique, Elizabeth stated. How could he be more interested in a servant girl? We have not met in ages. Philippe replied, he would never, of course, she come first. All of them thought that was close. Elizabeth asked, would he like to go on a picnic tomorrow to the forest where he liked the surroundings? Philippe replied, he is fine, he would love to go. Elizabeth stated, she asked the servant to scope the area. Wouldn't she agree, she must show them the way. The next day, a maid asked, she doesn't understand. Why is the lady out to get her? That basket is too heavy for one person to carry. By the way, take care of herself. After some time, Elizabeth spoke. What a beautiful day. She is glad it did not rain today. Lynn thought. This is so heavy, Philippe stated. That looks rather heavy. Let him give her a hand. Suddenly, Lynn's foot got stuck on a stone. She was going down, but Philippe grabbed her and asked, is she all right? Lynn thought, this is not good. She hopes she did not make her lady angry. Next scene, Philippe speaks. He never knew there was such a place in the woods. They have to set up here, Lynn thought. What should she do? She has never been on a horse before. Philippe asks, it is not easy getting off a horse. Here, take his hand. She doesn't seem very experienced with horses. She may get hurt if she gets off on her own. Lynn thought, her lady is upset, as expected. What will happen to her when she returns to the estate? Philippe speaks. Wow, so much food. Girl, why doesn't she join them? Lynn replies. It's all right, she is fine over here. She doesn't feel comfortable with him sitting by himself. Martin asks, yes, why doesn't she come and pour him some tea? She doesn't have to kneel like that. Get comfortable, they are the only ones here. Don't she agree? Elizabeth replies, yes, have a seat. Lynn thought, it's so peaceful here. She knows it's a fleeting moment, so she will enjoy it while she can. Then their conversation starts. After some time, Lynn asks, lady, can she wander around for a bit? Elizabeth replies, go ahead. After that, Lynn thought, young master will soon be leaving for the academy. The Imperial Academy also serves as a military school. They don't accept girls, so only young Master Martin will be attending. Her days at the estate are long and tiring, and she has no one to turn to. But the young master's presence gives her a reason to carry on. Running into him felt like a small reward, a ray of light in her otherwise miserable life. It was the motivation she needed to continue on with her life. She needs to snap out of it. Wild strawberries. Her lady told her that Philippe likes wild strawberries. This should be enough. She hopes this makes her lady happy. Elizabeth came and asked, where is she? Why isn't she answering? Does she know how many times she called her? Is she testing her patience? Lynn replies, her apologies. Elizabeth speaks, apologies. My ass. Just wait until we get back to the estate, Lynn said. Watch out, lady. She is glad the lady did not fall into the water. Elizabeth grabs her hair. Lynn screams in pain. Elizabeth states, this is all because of her. Will it take another beating to knock some sense into her? Philippe asks, what's wrong? They heard a loud noise. What's going on over here? Elizabeth speaks, oh dear, is she all right? Philippe asked, did she fall into the creek? Was she hurt? Lynn replied, she is all right. Elizabeth spoke, she seems to have a headache. Philippe asked, is that so? She can lean on him for support. Elizabeth continued, she seems to have sprained her ankle when she tripped. Martin looked at Lynn's ankle and noticed it was indeed hurt. Martin said he thought they should head back. Elizabeth thought things were not going as she planned, and this was all because of that dumb wench. She said she wanted to spend more time with Philippe, and Lynn ruined it. She would wait until they got back home. Lynn thought Elizabeth was even angrier than before. Lynn spoke, Lord Philippe, it seems Lady Elizabeth is having trouble walking. Could he escort her back to the estate? Philippe replied, of course, she can ride with him. Elizabeth stated, good work. Lynn thought she hoped this was enough to get herself out of trouble. Martin said, get on. She can't possibly walk back in that state. She can ride with her. Lynn replied, but she can't do that. Elizabeth spoke, go ahead. Is she going to keep them waiting? The next moment, both of them were riding on the horse. Lynn thought as the horse galloped, her back would occasionally bump into the young master's chest, and she could feel his breath tickling her ear. Was it the breath against her ear or the heat of his body? It felt as if her heart would explode. Back at the estate, the day was finally over. She was so tired. They had been working later hours than usual since their guest arrived. She was glad the day was finally over. A maid asked. She was waiting for her. "Let's go talk with Annie later," Lynn replied. "She is a little tired today." The maid spoke, but she said she had something interesting to share with them. "Please come with her." Lynn thought she should refuse, but she couldn't. Muriel went out of her way to save her when Lady Elizabeth fell into fits of anger. The next moment, Annie started telling all of them that she had been looking out with a person recently. He asked if they could get married next year, and then he leaned closer, asking for her answer. When she merely nodded, he reached slowly for her chin. Then he kissed her. All of them were like, "Wow, he really kissed her." Lynn thought, "Men and women lock lips together." The other maids asked, "How did it feel? Touch their lips. Don't they feel soft?" Annie replied, "How can they imagine how it feels to have those soft, warm lips against their own?" Lynn thought, when two soft lips press against each other, she wants to know how it feels to be kissed. She is sure it's soft and sweet. She never thought something like that was even possible. They say they start getting fuzzy feelings in their bodies when they kiss, but she can't even fathom how that feels. Even after hearing the details from other people, will it be as soft and sweet as the chocolate young master gave her? The next day, Lynn thought, "This is heavier than it looks. I hope this is enough to please her lady." She managed to escape the wrath of her lady after the picnic. However, she remembered Lady asking, "What is she going to do with this foot? She can't go anywhere since she lied about it." Maybe she will work on a flower arrangement. Go fetch her some flowers. Lynn was glad her lady was not really injured. Suddenly, her foot slipped. Martin held her and asked if she was all right. Lynn was looking at his lips and replied, "Thanks." Martin asked, "That looks heavy. Do she need help?" Lynn replied, "Of course not. She can manage on her own." After that, Lynn thought, "He is gone. This won't do." She could not help staring at young master's lips. She wondered how it would feel to press her lips against his. She knew that her wish would never come true. What was she thinking? Her feelings for the young lord were growing bigger by the day. She used to be content just looking from afar. She is a mere housemaid. She could never dream of dating the young master. She needed to get over her infatuation and fast. On the other hand, Martin asked, "How is her ankle?" Elizabeth replied, "It's gotten so much better." "What brings him here?" Martin spoke. Her maid girl seemed to know her way around the forest. He thought he could take her as his guide. He is referring to the girl with silver hair. Elizabeth replied, "Her name is Lynn." Then thought, "That's strange. Brother never showed interest in any of the staff before. So why does he wish to borrow her personal maid today?" She wondered what he was thinking. Next scene, Martin said, "Try to relax. Is she still scared of horses?" Lynn replied, "She shall." Young master then thought, how could she relax? Lady Elizabeth ordered her to accompany young master into the forest. Come to think of it, she should be guiding the young master, but he seems to already know the way. Lynn mumbled, "Why is he always so nice to her?" Martin asked, "Did she say something?" Lynn replied, "No, it's nothing," and thought, if he keeps this up, she may forget her place and continue to covet him. After some time, Lynn asked, what should she do now? Martin replied, she could watch him hunt, take a look around the forest, or get some rest. He knows Elizabeth does not give her a break. Lynn thought she wished she could ask him why he treats her with such kindness, but she is in no position to ask such questions. On the other hand, Elizabeth was still thinking that her older brother has never shown any interest in staff, nor has he shown any interest in her, his own little sister, so why is he suddenly asking about the little twat? They have plenty of staff, but there is a reason why she searched high and low for a girl like Lynn. That's because she is the spitting image of the most revered woman in their empire, Her Highness Radina, the sole successor to the Emperor of Trona. Father would always compare her to Radina. The princess seems to be absolutely perfect. She is loved by everyone. Elizabeth is getting upset just thinking about it. A maid came and told her Lord Philippe asked if the lady would like to join his party. Elizabeth was so happy. Yes, tell him she will be coming. Back at the hunting ground, Lynn thought, look at the beautiful bird. Why did the young master shoot it down? Martin asked why she was looking at the bird like that, asking if she felt sorry for it. Lynn replied, that's not it, then asked, what shall they do with it? Can she bury it? Martin replied, as she wishes. Lynn thought this is the best she could do for a bird that suffered a meaningless death. That bird reminded her of herself. Goodbye, little bird, she hopes he rests in peace. Martin asked if that made her feel better. Lynn replied, not really, the bird won't ever hear her. Martin stated he had lost interest in hunting. Lynn thought, what should she do? She seems to have hurt the young master's feelings. Martin spoke. She looked like a surprised rabbit. Why doesn't she show him what she does when she comes to the forest? Lynn replied, of course, but he may not find it very interesting. Next scene, the Duke asked, it's been a while, Philippe, has he made himself at home? Elizabeth thought she wondered if father would bring up a potential marriage between their families. Philippe replied, yes, he has settled in nicely thanks to. Elizabeth cut his sentence and stated, of course he has, father, she has seen to it personally. The Duke stated, can't she see that Philippe and her father were talking? Elizabeth replied, her apologies, father. Then thought this was a great opportunity to get into father's good graces. How could he embarrass her like this in front of Philippe? Martin thought father seemed to be holding himself in check today. Then their chat continued. The Duke asked if he went hunting on his own, and how did that go? Martin replied it was not too bad. He was able to move more freely around the forest. Elizabeth thought, liar, he took Lynn with him, he is lying, knowing well that father will become angry if she joins in on the conversation. There is a stark contrast in the way father treats her brother and her. Was it because mother passed away right after giving birth to her? She knows he blames her for mother's death, but it's starting to get out of hand. Father has never held her, not even once. Initially, she would break things to get his attention, but he never gave her the time of day, no matter what item she broke. That's when she started aiming for things that would not break so easily. After some time, Philippe asked, he doesn't see the maid girl. Is she off running errands? Elizabeth asked who he was referring to. Philippe replied he was referring to the silver-haired girl she brought to the picnic. Elizabeth replied, so he must be talking about Lynn. Martin took her on his hunt, so she told her to take the day off. Philippe asked, so that's the guide he was telling him about. What did he catch today? Martin replied he didn't hunt much, then remembered Lynn saying, this is the puri berry, her favorite. It's tart. Her mother taught her when she was alive. Martin said he found more interesting things to do. Elizabeth thought, why is Martin smiling like that? Both father and Martin are getting on her nerves. Next scene. All the maids wondered what was going on. Why was Lynn standing there? Lynn spoke. She is telling the truth. It was not her, Elizabeth stated. Stop lying to her. She was the last person to touch the necklace. Lynn replied she really had nothing to do with it, then thought she put the necklace in the jewel box right after the picnic. Where did it go? Elizabeth asked Muriel if she shared a room with Lynn, to take her to their room. She wished to have a look herself. Muriel replied, but they can't possibly take her there. They need the permission of the head maid. The next moment, she was hit by a jewelry box. Elizabeth asked if she was saying she needed the permission of a mere maid. Shut up and take her there right this minute. In the maid's quarters, the maids thought, isn't that lady? What is she doing here? Someone must have done something wrong. Suddenly, Elizabeth opened the door. Two maids were shocked and said, lady, they are changing dresses. Muriel spoke. Please try to calm down. Elizabeth pushed her away, then grabbed her neck and asked, tell the truth. Where's the room she shares with that Lynn thief? The head maid thought, her lady said the culprit is Lynn, but the Lynn she knows is hardworking and honest. She would never do such a thing. Everyone has nothing but good things to say about her. She takes on difficult tasks without complaint. Another maid spoke. There must be a misunderstanding. Lynn would never do such a thing. The head maid replied. but their opinion would mean nothing, for it's difficult to tell a thief from an honest person, and regarding the fairness of things, household staff have no say against their master. Elizabeth grabbed Lynn's hair. The head maid spoke. "Lady, why don't she let go of her hair?" Elizabeth asked. Did she just order her around? Being head maid for so long must have gotten to her head. The head maid thought, she has been working for His Grace for decades. If Her Grace were still alive and lavished Lady Elizabeth with love and attention, she would not have turned out this way. She may not have gotten a kick out of tormenting the staff or become the living nightmare of all the maids here. She may be a source of fear to the servants, but she herself has someone she fears. The head maid asked, "Is she sure the necklace was stolen?" Elizabeth asked, "Is she calling her a liar?" The head maid continued, "Indeed, stealing is a serious crime. She has no choice but to report this to His Grace. She is sure he will punish the culprit as he sees fit." Elizabeth froze, then thought, if that happens, Father will kick Lynn out and despise her even more. She then spoke, "Actually, there is no need. Lock her up in the East Room until she repents for her actions, and there is no need to tell Father about this." Being the gracious master that she is, she would not let Father kick Lynn out. The head maid spoke. "He wants her to follow," Lynn replied, "but she did not steal the necklace. Why won't anybody believe her?" After that, she thought she didn't understand why this was happening. The head maid spoke. "She is sorry, but this is the best she can do," Lynn said. "But she really didn't do it," the head maid stated. "They know that she is innocent. Let them wait and see how things go. She is sure her lady will soon come to her senses." After that, Lynn thought she was upset, but felt a sense of relief knowing that the others viewed her as innocent. Muriel would stop by to sneak items that would help pass the time, and it felt nice to be away from her lady for a few days. After some days, she was free and thought her lady would continue to punish her over the lost necklace, but to her dismay, the necklace was found in her lady's room, and she treated her so nonchalantly. Elizabeth stated she found the necklace stuck inside a crack in her jewel box. If she had placed it properly, this would never have happened. Be grateful that she did not tell Father. He would have kicked her out right away. Lynn thought she is innocent and feels very upset, but her honor means nothing. She is just a lowly housemaid with nowhere else to go. Elizabeth asked, "How does she look?" Lynn replied, "She looks lovely." Then thought, will she ever be able to stand up for herself? She should find something to love and protect. In the next scene, Muriel spoke. "Wow, she looks so cute." She wanted to showcase her hair, since she always covers it up. She is sorry she could not be more of a help. Lynn replied, "She is fine." She is thankful that she believed her until the very end. After some time, Lynn thought this is the first day off since she started working here. The dukedom pays a good salary. They even get free days too. She got some novels and sewing products Muriel asked for. She would also like to get something for young master before he leaves for the academy. She may never get to tell him how she feels about him, but she is sure it's all right to give him a small parting gift. Perhaps he will remember her during the next 6 years at the academy. Suddenly a person spoke. "Is that her?" Lynn replied, "Yes, she is Lynn, but who is he?" Minos replied, "Did she forget him?" "He is Minos." Lynn asked, "When did he grow so tall?" She did not recognize him. Minos said, "Well, he does a lot of physical labor. He got sick of working for a noble family and left. Now, if she is free, they can eat something." After that, the maids chatted. "Look, Lynn is talking with some guy over there. She can't believe her eyes. He is pretty good looking and tall too. Could that be her boyfriend?" Muriel replied, "No way, she seems to know nothing about men and women." On the other hand, Martin thought the delivery boy must have arrived. He is new, but he seems to know Lady Elizabeth's personal maid. He did not know she could smile like that. Then stated he wants to cancel all appointments regarding the academy from today. He would like to go on a hunt. After some time, Martin thought he did not see Lynn for a while, and he heard the staff gossiping about her, so he started searching for her at the places they had met. Was she out on an errand all this time? So much wasted time, to no avail. What is wrong with him? He has never worried about anyone else before, so why now? Then he saw the berries, and thought he knows those berries. After half an hour, Lin thought she lost track of time catching up with Minos. Suddenly, Lin was shocked and asked, "Young master, what is he doing here?" Martin said, "These are puri berries." Lin asked, "Why is he giving them to her?" Martin replied, "She said she likes them." Then he thought, why isn't she smiling at him like she did at the delivery boy? He feels foolish, he has to go. Lin said, "Young master, this is for him. It's a handkerchief embroidered with marigolds. She knows he will be leaving soon for the academy. She hopes he stays healthy while he is there." Martin replied, "Thanks, he only got her puri berries. Wait, he also plucked some wildflowers earlier." Lin thought soon after, young Master Martin left for the academy. She was glad she had the opportunity to give him the handkerchief. To ensure that young Master Martin feels comfortable when he returns home, she secretly cleaned his room every chance she got. Seasons changed and time flew by, and before she knew it, it became the 6th spring without him, and she became 19 years old. A maid came and told her there is no time, they want the entire stock together. Young Master Martin has returned. Lin thought her lady did not mention anything about this. All the staff is waiting for young master. Then Martin arrived. Elizabeth stated, "Welcome home, dear brother." She hopes it was a smooth ride home. He must be tired. She will have the staff run him a bath. Lin, Sasha, prepare the bath for Martin. Lin thought, this won't do. Her lady seems to be in a bad mood. She is going to have to be extra careful today, after that young master has finally come home. She wonders if he remembers her. Suddenly, Martin came in. Both of them were shocked and blushing. Martin stated, "They may leave if the bath is ready." Lin thought, what was that just now? He does not seem to be the young master she remembers. He has forgotten about her. She waited all this time to no avail. After some days to celebrate Martin's return, His Grace decided to throw a huge party at the estate. It will be a 3-day celebration. A maid spoke. "Hosting a party takes so much work." Lin replied, "Yes, she feels the same way." Then she thought, the estate is brimming with people, yet everyone is focused on one person. All the ladies are flocking to young master's side, vying for his attention. Young master definitely stands out from the crowd. Elizabeth thought, how annoying. Why is everyone focused on her brother and not her? Then she stated, will she bring her another from her room? It's getting hot. The next moment, Elizabeth tripped, her foot on Lin's foot. Lin hit a noble lady. The lady shouted, "Does she have any idea how much she paid for this frock?" Elizabeth spoke. She knew this would happen. She told her to be more careful. Noble lady asked what she is going to do about her dress. Lin replied, "She is sorry, lady." Martin asked, "What is the matter? Was she injured?" Lady Bedford. The noble lady asked, "How do he know her name?" Martin stated, he could never forget someone as lovely as her. Allow him to take care of this matter, as their servant did her wrong. Come to think of it, sister said she recently purchased a beautiful dress. He is sure she would love for her to take a look at it. Wouldn't she agree, Elizabeth? She said there was only one available in the empire. Elizabeth replied, "Of course," then thought she went through so much trouble getting her hands on the dress, then continued, "It's a rare item, she hopes the lady likes it." Martin spoke. He wants 2 of them to clear the table and the rest to fetch tea and refreshments. Lin said, her apologies. Martin replied, "Get some rest. Elizabeth has been on her back all day." Lin thought, young master, she can't believe he remembers her. He called her by name. She is so happy. On the other hand, Elizabeth shouted, "Damnation!" It took her forever to get her hands on that dress. She was planning on wearing it in front of Princess Regina one day. Martin has not changed at all. He is still a prick. Next scene, Lin thought the 3-day party ended in success. Her lady remained silent after the incident with Lady Bedford. She wanted to take advantage of the commotion to sneak another peek at young master. But it seems the party is not quite over yet. Young master was constantly surrounded by his peers. She forgot that he is a busy man. She should be content with looking at him from afar. It's time she went back to work. Philippe came and spoke. It's been a while. She is Elizabeth's personal maid, isn't she? Here she go. Eat this and cheer up, Lynn replied. Thanks, please let her know if he needs anything, Philippe replied, maybe later. Lynn thought, Muriel is going to love this, she hopes she can stop thinking about young master today. The next day, a maid chatted. What are they doing with young master's furniture? The other one replied. Young master is moving to the guest house. The former duchess spent her last days at the guest house. On the other hand, Lynn thought she was happy to look at young master from afar. Maybe it's best not to see him again. Muriel told her there are rumors about Master Martin and his actions. She heard from another maid who works at the guest house. She said that ever since young master moved to the guest house, ladies and gentlemen gather there at night, causing a ruckus, doing God knows what. There is only one thing men and women could do together at night. Lynn thought, young Master Martin is no longer the boy she remembers. Did something happen while he was at the academy? On the other hand, a noble lady got on the table and stated, where there is booze and music, they have to have dancing. Elena asked, he is the host. Why is he just sitting here? There was nothing cute about him from the start. They are friends. What is he hiding from her? Martin replied. Nothing. Philippe came and spoke. It's no fun without her. Come on, join in on the fun. Martin thought, this is the best he can do. This is the only way to hide the ugly truth of his family. He doesn't care who it is, but someone please save him. After some time, Elizabeth spoke. This is so stressful. Why is Martin acting like this? With him in the guest house, she hardly gets to meet Philippe anymore. This may be the perfect opportunity to get in father's good graces. Lynn, she should go check how Martin is doing, so she can report back to father. Then at night, Lynn thought, so this is the guest house. She has never been here before. There were so many people. Should she say hello? She doesn't want to be a burden. Suddenly, a person grabbed her hand. Lynn screamed. The person stated, stop resisting and take that cap off. Martin stated, get lost. Lynn thought. Why did he come to her rescue? Martin asked, what is she doing here? Lynn replied, her lady wanted to see if he was well. Elena thought, she has not seen her before. Why does she remind her of Her Highness Regina? After some time, Martin asked, so she wanted to see if he was doing well. Lynn replied, yes, but she is sorry. Her lady ordered her to come here, then thought she must have upset him in some way. Martin kissed her, then said, go relay the news to her lady, and let her know exactly how he is doing. She is blushing. He thought she would run off. Lynn thought she had no idea back then, but she knows better now. There will be no turning back if she doesn't leave here right now. She had heard from fellow housemaids about the intimate acts that happen between men and women at night. Martin asked, it won't end with a kiss. Is she sure she want to do this? Lynn thought she had no right to do this with the young master, for he is destined to be the next duke, and she will always remain a housemaid. But she had always admired him from afar, and this may be her only opportunity. Maybe she should follow her heart just this once. If only she could spend a night in the arms of the man she fancies. Lynn stated she would like to stay. The next moment, Martin was nibbling her. Lynn asked, why is he nibbling her there? Then she thought she feels so strange. Her body feels like it's on fire. She must focus on the young master. Martin started kissing her legs. Lynn thought she feels so lightheaded. Martin stated, she have no idea how beautiful she look right now. She is just mind-blowing, and a beautiful piece of art from God. Why is she covering her face? Lynn replied, well, she have never done anything like this before. Martin thought, so it's her first time, then spoke. He guessed that boy meant nothing to her. Lynn thought she did not know young master had such a muscular body. Is he going to use that body to have his way with her? There was a part of her that felt unnerved by what was happening, but she decided to ignore it for now. Their time together felt empty, but she clung to what little warmth she felt, seeking some sort of solace. She prayed for it over and over. The next morning, Muriel asked if she was all right, saying she looked pale and ill. Lynn replied she had an early start that morning. Maybe that explained it. After that, she thought she was glad Muriel did not notice that she was not in their room, and she couldn't stop thinking about last night. but she was sure the memories would fade away. Like a midsummer night's dream, it was just one night, but it was more than enough. The next scene, Elizabeth asked how her dear brother was. Lynn replied he seemed to be doing well. Elizabeth said that was enough, she could leave now. Lynn stated her hand was bleeding, and they must treat the wound. Elizabeth slapped her and said, "Didn't she hear her? She told her to leave. Go wash my undergarments." Lynn wondered how her lady took the news. Why did it upset her to hear that her brother was doing well, and cause her to become even angrier than before? But it was fine. The more pain Elizabeth dished out, the easier it was to forget about that night. Then at night, Lynn wondered where he was. Her body felt like it was on fire. A familiar sensation she couldn't quite place. Martin grabbed her and said her body was pliant and ready for him. Then they started kissing. Lynn told him he must not do this. Martin stated she should be honest with herself. He knew she didn't want to forget their night together. Lynn woke up and thought she was glad Muriel was a deep sleeper. After some time, Lynn thought the sky was full of stars. Then again, she remembered those moments and thought she could forget quickly, but she couldn't get that night out of her head. Suddenly Martin came and said he thought he would find her here. How dare she leave without telling him after whimpering all night in his arms? Lynn replied she was sorry, but she is a maid, and she had to go back to her daily chores. Martin thought about the old letter from his mother, which she wrote saying that by the time he read the letter, he would have graduated from the academy. She wondered how to bring this up to him, but there was something about his sister that he must promise not to tell anybody. She had a feeling their father had already caught on. Both of them were her loving children, but his sister was not his father's child. She was sure he was old enough to know what she was trying to say. He must make sure Elizabeth remained in Iriapooth for as long as she lived. Then he thought if their father knew the truth, he would try to get rid of Elizabeth before Martin became the Duke. Once rumors started to spread, tongues would start to wag. Martin stated she should come to the guest house every night until he got tired of her. Lynn thought there was a novel the maids had been passing around. In the story, a maid falls head over heels for her young master. They care for each other, but as expected, the heroine is confined in a dank dungeon. The story ends in tragedy. She didn't know why she conjured that up now. Perhaps she foresaw her future in the novel. These weren't the dresses he used to wear comfortably. He still spoke to her in a kind voice, yet there was a chill in his manner. Then, she asked young master why her. Martin replied that he found her interesting. Lynn thought, does that mean he sees her as a love interest? Martin continued, she interests him, like a new plaything would. Lynn thought, why did she even get her hopes up? He would never see her as a potential love interest. He views her as a plaything, not as a woman he could love. All he wants is her body, a body that will give him the pleasure he craves. Lynn spoke. He had told her to come to the guest house every night. She would eventually get caught, as she shared a room with another maid. Martin stated, is that the only thing bothering her? He just need to solve that issue. Fine. He will take care of it on her behalf. Don't forget, she must come to his room every night. The next day, Lynn thought she was glad the day went by without any trouble. How was she going to sneak into the guest house tonight? The head maid came and told her she had to pack her things. Having received orders to move to the guest house, she would be given a single room. Lynn asked, could she tell her why they wished to move her there? The head maid whispered, young master made the order. She don't know why he would do such a thing. Knowing she serve her lady, is she sure she know nothing about this? Lynn replied, no, she have no idea why this is happening. Then, she thought, things won't be easy if word spreads that he is receiving preferential treatment. However, the rumor spread like wildfire as soon as the headmaid left. All the maids started mumbling about Lynn. They said she wasn't that bad looking when she took her cap off, that she was quiet and hard-working. But that they were wrong. She was scolded all the time by her lady. This might be an easy way out. Lynn thought, will she ever be able to return to the room she shared with Muriel? She wished she could confide in Muriel. She just want to get out of here. The next scene, at the guest house, Lynn had no choice but to come. She knew that the moment she stepped foot inside, young master would have his way with her again. It was strange. just thinking about it for the person who put her in this position. Martin came out and spoke about going to look for her. Lin thought, the human mind is a funny thing. Is there anyone other than young master? However, when he touches her like this, all the nastiness she endured fades away into nothing, and she knows this will be her downfall. His love is a narcotic, a sweet poison that she could never refuse. On the other hand, another maid told her the rumors were spreading like wildfire among the staff. Elizabeth stated, so, she's saying his brother gave orders to move her personal maid to his quarters. Well, then she's going to have something to say about it. Next scene. Lin thought she was so tired. It had been 3 weeks since that fateful night. Her lady had told her to go to the guest house. Little did she dream, she would spend the night in the young master's arms. She wished she had cried out for help instead of going to the guest house again. She didn't know how the young master would react, and it scared her. It may have been a mutual agreement, but things didn't look good for her. If she told the truth, people would think she had an ulterior motive and went out of her way to seduce the young master. The young master gave her the love and attention she craved, so why did she feel so empty? A maid should never covet her young master. On the other hand, the maids started bullying her. One of them said she must be the girl who seduced the young master. She does have silver hair. Did she use that to her advantage? She hates that type of person, thinking she can get anything with that pretty face of hers. Lin thought the other maids went out of their way to make her suffer when they were not serving her lady. Muriel avoided her too. She understood where Muriel was coming from. When the bullying became worse, her mind started drifting elsewhere. She knew it was forbidden, but she started to rely on the young master even more. What would happen to her if her lady were to find out? But one thing was for sure, it wouldn't end with her being fired. She must never, ever get caught. Next scene. Her Highness speaks. There he is. They have been searching all over for him. He is bleeding. He must always be careful. It breaks her heart to see him hurt. Please keep that in mind. Martin wakes up and thinks it was a dream. He has not dreamed of Her Majesty in a long time. It's been a few years since Her Majesty passed away. He must have missed the warm hugs she gave him whenever he visited the palace. She was the only one who treated him kindly after he lost his mother. Is that the reason why he sought Lin out? Then he said he told her she didn't need to knock. Why does she always look like she is about to cry? Lin hugged him, then spoke, Master, please make love to her. She spent all day being treated badly by the others, and she feels so drained, mentally and physically. He got her into this mess. But it does not matter. It's all right as long as she is in his arms. The other maid thought, so the rumors were true. She must inform her lady at once. Next morning, Lin thought she has not had a day off in a while. She spends most of her nights with the young master, and it's been tiring to say the least. With the other maids giving her a hard time, she had no choice but to come outside. Fortunately, she feels relaxed in the presence of Minos. He is out at sea and only returns once or twice a year. Minos asked. She looked paler than usual. Lin replied, really, she had no idea. Minos asked, is someone giving her a hard time? Lin replied, no, that's not it. Minos spoke, now he get it. Is it a guy issue? Be careful. All men are animals, so don't fall in love with any guy that professes his love for her. Lin thought she had noticed that Minos has a knack for figuring things out. Minos spoke, she ate 3 pastries. That's never happened before. Lin replied, she have a huge appetite these days. Minos stated, good for her, the more she eat, the healthier she will become. Let him know if someone does not treat her right, and he will tell them off. Lin replied, she will. Thanks. Then she thought, it's nice to have someone treat her so kindly. She realized that it has been ages since someone worried about her, and it saddened her. After some time, Martin was practicing shooting and remembered he asked who hurt her. He knew he did not bruise her this way. Lin replied, it's nothing. She got hurt during work, that's all. Then Martin thought, was it Elizabeth? No, she seemed to have calmed down after coming of age. If it is not Elizabeth, is it the other maids? He heard they were gossiping about Lin. Why isn't she telling him anything? Does she not trust him? Then he saw both of them and thought, What is she doing? Why is she smiling at that jerk? She never smiles at him like that. Come to think of it, at his welcoming party he heard noble ladies chatting to each other. One of them asked, "How did her date go?" The other one replied, "It was splendid. He prepared a present and her favorite desserts." The other one spoke, "She is jealous. He was the perfect escort." At night, Lynn came and tried to remove her clothes. Martin stated, "Not today." Lynn asked, "But she don't understand why, and what is all this?" Martin said, "Come, take a seat, let's eat together." Like this video. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.